again and welcome back to the garden. Now today I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I'm going to have a go at making my own liquid feed. Now not quite like this one because this is a seaweed tonic and I don't live anywhere near the coast. But my plan is to use some of the materials in my garden that are readily available and that I really don't need to be able to make this feed. And all I need to do that is a bucket. Any old bucket will do. And yeah, because of what I'm going to be collecting, I'm going to be using gloves as well. So that's a bit of a clue. Yeah, so I think liquid feed is really helpful for plants that are grown in containers because over the course of the growing season, obviously the nutrients can run out. For plants that are in the ground, you don't really need to feed unless you want to. Or maybe you think your soil's not that great and it might help. Yeah, absolutely, you can do that. Now, you do need to be a little bit mindful about what stage of the growing season the plants are at and what you're giving them. So if you were going to make a feed for green growth, so you want something that's really rich in nitrogen, you know, nettles are going to be excellent for that. If you want just a general feed, just use lots of different weeds, lots of different plant material, and then you should get a broad range of nutrients. If you've got plants that are coming up to fruiting, then maybe use comfrey or dock if you've got that. I have got some comfrey in my garden and I'm saving that comfrey for when my tomatoes are going to be close to the fruiting time because I will be feeding them, I think, with some comfrey feed if I can. So yeah, that's enough talking. Let's crack on with it then. There really isn't very much to it at all. Yeah, so behind me here, I have got this patch of nettles. What a fantastic resource. I mean, obviously I've left them here for this purpose. No, if you don't want to make liquid feed for them, you could absolutely use them for chop and drop. Of course, you could also put them on the compost bin. But do make sure you just use the leaves. Don't put any like seeds or anything anywhere because you don't really want to be spreading them around the garden. So when I was reading up about this, Google recommended using 1 kilogram of nettle leaves. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't got the scales to be able to weigh out 1 kilogram of nettle leaves. And I also probably don't have 1 kilogram of nettle leaves. Just use what you have. It seems quite excessive to me that you would need 1 kilogram. I mean, the worst that could happen is that, you know, if you haven't got as much as you need, then the feed is going to be more dilute. So maybe you need to leave it a bit longer or use a little bit more. You know, no harm done really. There are also plenty of dandelion leaves in this patch. I might as well pop them in. Dandelions are also really rich in goodness, so. In this spot, I've also got plenty of cleavers, which are the things that stick to you. And yeah, these are also packed full of goodness, so I'm going to put them in as well. Yeah, so this job that I'm doing here also has the advantage that I'm freeing up some space around my cardoon plant. I only planted it last year. It hasn't flowered yet. It's still very small, so I think it's really going to benefit from not being crowded by the nettles. Yeah, so there we are then. I've got a bucket full of nettles and a few other weeds. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to quickly chop it up because that then helps the nutrients to release that little bit more quickly. Okay, yeah, so there we are. Just give that a nice chop. I mean, yeah, this is obviously nothing like 1 kilogram. I don't really know how you'd get 1 kilogram in your average garden of plant material. Really helpful advice there from Google. Okay, so yeah, so there we are then. That's now all lovely and chopped up. Hopefully you can see that. Yeah, I've gone quite fine because that will then help it break down that bit more quickly. Yeah, so I'm now going to add some water to cover this plant material. You know, when you chop it down like this, it doesn't really look like very much, but hopefully it will still be enough to make some liquid feed. What I will say is they do say that you should use rainwater. Yeah, you may not have rainwater to hand. I haven't personally. It hasn't rained here heavily for quite some time. And yeah, I have never got round to getting a water butt, which is something I really must rectify. But yeah, just use what you have. It doesn't have to be perfect at the end of the day. What I have done is I've got some tap water, which I actually let sit overnight. So at least it's not, you know, completely fresh out the tap, which I think will help a bit. And yeah, let's get this covered. I mean, this is really a very large bucket. I'm not going to fill it all the way up. It's actually a 30-litre bucket, which usually plasterers would use. I didn't get this on purpose. You definitely don't need to use a bucket this big. Basically, it was the only bucket that the store had, so it's what I'm using. But there is one advantage to it, which is it's slightly see-through, so I'm going to be able to see, you know, the liquid change colour and kind of be able to gauge how ripe it is. Yeah, so the next step is to add in a handful of soil. Now, ideally, you would take this, say, from your compost, so there's plenty of microbes in here, because really what we're doing is we're adding microbes into this. I have actually taken this from my compost bin, but if you don't have a compost bin or you've already used up all of your compost, just grab a handful of garden soil. You know, there probably won't be as many microbes in it, but there'll still be some, and yeah, it's better than not adding anything at all. Right, so there you go, there's the mix. I'm just going to give it a good stir up. I need a stick. I feel a bit like a witch doing this. But yeah, just use anything you've got to hand. I'm using an old cane here, but yeah, anything that will do the job. Give it a mix. So there we go, that's all mixed up. Hopefully you can see that it's now really heavy. It's really heavy now. But yeah, it's all mixed up, which is lovely. And all that's left to do really is to put a lid on it, just to kind of keep the smell down, because yeah, once it starts seeping out, it will start smelling a bit. I'm going to have to improvise a bit here because I can't actually find anything plastic to go over it that will cover it enough. So I think I'm going to use a bit of cardboard and a brick to weigh it down. Yeah, so that will do for now. It's not perfect because obviously the cardboard could get wet in the rain, but yeah, it will do for now, and hopefully I can think of something else to cover it in the next few days. Yeah, so I've just popped it down here to the bottom of the garden. It's right by the shed, but it's not by the opening door, so hopefully it won't be too bad when it does start smelling. We'll see, we'll see. Yeah, there you go. So this is a corner of the garden where I never go. So yeah, hopefully it won't be too bad. As I say, I will let you know. Yeah, so this is the liquid feed I made from the nettles a couple of weeks ago. It looks absolutely lovely, doesn't it? Yeah, but yeah, there's so much goodness in there, trust me. And because I've got such bad hay fever, I can't smell anything. I'm assuming that it does absolutely pong, which is why I've put it to the back of the garden. And then if I show you my high potassium feed that I only started a few days ago. Yeah, so this then is my high potassium feed that I'm making, and I'm looking at this now and I can clearly see that I need to add in a bit more water. You can see that I've mainly got soil in there, and yeah, there's a few of the dock leaves. But yeah, if I come in a bit closer here, you can see that the water that is there is still really clear, so this feed is nowhere near ready. And yeah, it needs probably another week and a half before it's ready to be used. Yes, I'm here then with my lovely homemade nettle feed. And what I want to say about this is, you know, one of the advantages of making your own feed at home like this is I know exactly everything that's gone in here. I know it's completely organic, you know, there's no harsh chemicals or any residues. And yeah, it's not going to do any damage to my plants. And it's really important to me to garden organically. And I don't want to risk adding any chemicals, you know, that could interfere with that. Now, I'm sure that many of the liquid feeds say that they're organic. Who knows? Let's be honest, who knows? But yeah, if you make it yourself, then you do know, don't you? And I do think that is a real advantage. Yeah, so that was a bit of a whistle-stop tour then of how you can make some liquid feed at home. You know, all you really need is a bucket and some weeds in your garden. And you probably have both of those things. Actually, I didn't have a second bucket, did I? Which is why I had to use the cat litter tray, which is funny because if you've watched this channel, you'll know that I use old cat litter trays for absolutely everything. They're very, yeah, they're very useful. But yeah, getting back to the more important stuff, you know, liquid feed is a very quick way actually of giving some extra nutrition to your plants. And you might think, well, you've got to wait 2 weeks, it's not that quick. But compare it to compost, say, where you've got to wait several months. It really is quite quick, and it's a really good way of kind of unlocking the nutrients that we have in these plants, you know, these hidden gems that we have in our garden that we think of as weeds like nettles and docks that are actually super useful. Yeah, so I hope this video has given you a few ideas about how you can make liquid feed at home. Tilly's just going along the top, look. She had to make an appearance. She was determined to make an appearance today. Do let me know in the comment section about your experiences of making your own liquid feed. Is it something you've done before? Is it something you might be trying for the first time this year? Yeah, I'd love to hear from you. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.